My parents said my little brother was the golden child, and I should be grateful for scraps. Years later, their perfect plan backfired when he chose my couch over their house. My little brother Liam was standing in my doorway with a duffel bag hanging off his shoulder like it weighed 1,000 pounds. His hair was a mess, his eyes red like he hadn't slept, and he smelled faintly like our parents' fabric softener and stale anger. "Can I stay here for a while?" he asked. Just like that. No warning, no warm-up. 7 words that would have made 0 sense to anyone who didn't know our family. Because if you had asked my parents 10 years ago to describe their future, they would have told you all about Liam. Liam, the brilliant baby boy. Liam, the golden child. Liam, the one they poured everything into while telling me I should be grateful for scraps. Yet here he was, choosing my small secondhand couch over their big, immaculate house. I stepped aside to let him in. "What happened?" He dropped the bag next to the couch and sank into it like he'd rehearsed this moment in his head 100 times. "We had a fight," he said. "Like a real one. They gave me an ultimatum. So I left." I just stared at him for a second, the words not fully landing. Because this was the kid they'd once sworn would carry the family name. The one they'd bragged about at every barbecue while using me as the example of the responsible older sister who doesn't need much. Now the golden child was asking the forgotten one for a place to sleep. Before I dive into how everything blew up, I want to know something. If the favorite sibling in your family suddenly turned up on your doorstep asking to crash with you, what would you do? Take them in? Slam the door? Make them work for it? Let me know in the comments. And if you like long story-style videos like this, make sure you hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Anyway, back to the beginning. Growing up, I always knew exactly where I ranked in my family. I was Chloe, the older sister, the mature one, the built-in babysitter. Liam was the miracle we weren't sure we'd ever have. The son my parents had prayed for. The boy who arrived 3 years after me and immediately became the center of the universe. They didn't call him the golden child back then. That label came later, whispered by relatives and eventually by me, under my breath. But their actions said it from day one. When I brought home a drawing from kindergarten, my mom smiled and stuck it on the fridge. When Liam brought home a scribble that looked like it had lost a fight with a crayon box, she took pictures of it from 3 angles and sent it to the family group chat with "Our little artist." In elementary school, if I got a B, my dad would sit me down at the kitchen table and talk about not wasting your potential. If Liam got a C-, Dad would ruffle his hair and say, "Math is hard, buddy. We'll figure it out." By middle school, I'd picked up on the pattern. If something needed to be done, dishes, laundry, watching Liam, my name was the one being called. "Chloe, can you help your brother with his homework?" "Chloe, can you keep an eye on him while we run to the store?" "Chloe, you're so good with responsibility. Liam just isn't there yet." When I asked to join a club that cost money, like gymnastics or art, Mom would sigh and say, "We'll see, honey. Money's tight right now." Every time Liam wanted to sign up for a new sport, somehow the money appeared. "This could be really big for him," my dad would say. "We want to give him every opportunity." The message was crystal clear. I was expected to grow up on my own. Liam would be carried. The first time I remember my mother actually using the words "golden child," I was 13 and Liam was 10. It was Christmas. I had opened a few small gifts, some books, a sweater that was clearly on sale in November, a pair of earbuds. I was happy enough. I didn't expect much. Then Liam tore open a huge box and pulled out the latest gaming console. He screamed. My parents beamed. The room buzzed with excitement. "Wow," I said quietly. "That's a lot." Mom heard me. "Don't start, Chloe." "I'm not starting," I said. "I just thought we couldn't afford stuff like that." My dad laughed awkwardly. "We saved up. Besides, Liam's been working so hard in school." "He got 2 Ds, I said. "I got straight A's and you said that was what we expect from you." Mom shot me a look. "You're older. You're more mature. You know we're proud of you. Liam needs the extra motivation. You should be grateful you're so independent. Yeah, Dad added. Your brother is our golden child when it comes to needing encouragement. You're already on the right track. There it was. Golden child. Like it was a cute nickname, not a job title they were tattooing onto his forehead. Anytime I complained after that, it became my problem. Don't be jealous, Chloe. You know we love you both. You're the strong one. Liam is more sensitive. You get good grades without trying. He needs more support. What they never seemed to realize was that support and spoiling are not the same thing. By the time high school hit, my parents had a full-blown plan for Liam's future. They wanted him to be the star athlete, the scholarship kid, the success story they could brag about. Soccer, baseball, extra coaching, private training, they did it all. Meanwhile, I was just there, the dependable one. I still did well in school, still helped with chores, still babysat Liam when they needed it. When I asked if they'd help me with college applications, my dad said, "Of course. We'll look into scholarships and community college options." When Liam mentioned maybe wanting to study sports management one day, Mom went on Zillow to see what houses near his dream university looked like. There was this one conversation I'll never forget. I was 16, sitting at the table sorting through brochures my school counselor had given me. My parents were at the counter arguing softly about money. "We can't afford to spread ourselves too thin," Dad said. "If we want Liam to have a real shot, we need to prioritize." Mom glanced at me, then back at him. "Chloe will be fine. She always lands on her feet. You know how she is. Responsible. She'll figure it out." They said it like they were complimenting me. Like I should be grateful they trusted me to survive with less. Liam, to his credit, picked up on some of this. Sometimes he flaunted it, cracking jokes like, "Well, I am the favorite," when my parents weren't around. Sometimes he seemed genuinely crushed under the weight of their expectations. Late at night, he'd text me things like, "If I quit soccer, do you think they'd still love me?" Or, "I wish they cared this much about your stuff too." I felt this weird mix of resentment and protectiveness. I was angry at him for being the center of their universe, but I also knew he hadn't asked for that role. He was a kid playing a part they'd written for him. So I made a promise to myself. I wouldn't wait for anyone else to take care of me. If my choices were golden child or girl who figures it out alone, I'd choose the second one and make it work. The day I moved out was one of the happiest and most gut-wrenching days of my life. I was 19, fresh out of high school with a full-time job at a local office and a part-time spot at community college in the evenings. I'd saved every dollar from working weekends during my senior year. It wasn't much, but it was enough for a deposit on a tiny one-bedroom apartment in a not terrible part of town. My parents framed it like I was abandoning them. "You know we'd let you stay here and save money," Mom said. "Your brother still needs you around." Dad added, "You're so young. Why rush into bills and rent?" Because I was already paying a bill they refused to acknowledge. The emotional cost of never being enough. I found a secondhand couch online, slightly sagging but clean, and paid for it with cash I'd hidden in a shoebox. When I dragged it into my new place with the help of a friend, I sat down on it. Alone in that quiet room and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. No one yelling my name to come take care of something. No one measuring my worth against Liam's potential. Just me, my cheap furniture, and the knowledge that everything in that room belonged to me because I'd earned it. My parents came by once, early on. Mom fussed over how small the kitchen was. Dad opened and closed the cabinets like he was inspecting a rental car. "Well, it's a start," he said. "When Liam graduates and gets a good job, he'll probably be able to afford something bigger right away." I just smiled and said, "Maybe." Liam came by a few weeks later, alone. He flopped onto my couch, limbs everywhere, and sighed dramatically. "It's so quiet," he said, "and you get to eat whatever you want. You're so lucky." "Lucky?" I laughed. "You think this is luck? This is bills, Liam, and a lot of rice and beans." Still, he said, looking around. You don't have anyone telling you where to be every second. That part is nice, I admitted. As he got older, those visits became more frequent. He'd escape to my place whenever our parents were on his case. At first, it was about school. They freaked out about a bee like I'd committed a crime. Then it was about sports. Dad's mad I don't want to do soccer camp this summer. He says I'm wasting his investment. Then college applications, then majors, then internships. Me, the child who was told to be grateful for scraps, was teaching the golden child how to breathe. Quick question while we're here. If you've ever moved out of a chaotic home and suddenly realized how peaceful your own little space could be, even if it was tiny or cheap, let me know in the comments. And if you're still watching, you probably like these detailed story times, so feel free to hit like and subscribe so this kind of content keeps showing up for you. Back to Liam. Our parents got exactly what they'd asked for, at least at first. Liam graduated, got into a decent university a few hours away, and they acted like they'd personally placed him there with their bare hands. They co-signed his loans, bought him a used car for safety, and posted so many photos of move-in day that I muted them on social media. When I asked, half joking, if they'd help me with my community college tuition, Mom said, "We just don't have the budget right now. You're working. You'll figure it out. Liam needs us to focus so he doesn't fall behind." At school, Liam did exactly what you'd expect from someone who'd been praised his whole life without learning discipline. He partied. Hard. At first, he texted me stupid memes and drunk selfies from frat houses. Then the messages changed. Skipping class? Professor's a jerk anyway. I'm kinda behind, but it'll be fine. I always pull it off. Do you think Mom will freak if I drop one class? Then, they put me on academic probation. Our parents' reaction? They blamed everyone but him. The professors didn't understand how smart he really was. The roommates were bad influences. The counselor didn't give him a fair chance. They told him to just try harder next semester while throwing more money at the problem. The next semester, he did try. For about 3 weeks. Old habits returned. More parties, more late assignments. Eventually, Liam texted me 3 words I'd been waiting for and dreading at the same time. I got dropped. When he came home for that conversation, it was like watching a play we'd already seen, just with higher stakes. My mom cried. Dad yelled. Liam shrugged and said, "College isn't for everyone." They swore to support him while he figured things out. They set him up with a job through one of Dad's friends, doing basic office work at a small company. It was easy, boring work. Filing, data entry, answering phones. The kind of job I'd killed for when I was 19. He showed up late. He took long breaks. He forgot tasks. When he got fired, my parents didn't make him own it. Instead, they complained that the boss had unrealistic expectations and didn't appreciate Liam's talents. I asked gently, "What talents? You haven't let him develop any." That did not go over well. "You're being negative," Mom said. "You've always been negative about your brother." Dad added, "Not everyone is built like you, Chloe. You're naturally responsible. Liam needs time." Time was exactly what they gave him. Time, money, and a rent-free room at home with meals cooked, laundry done, and a car to drive. He was 23 years old, living like a high schooler with a nicer phone. The weirdest part? The more they tried to cushion him, the more resentful he became. "They won't get off my back." He'd complain on my couch. "I'm a grown man, but they still treat me like a kid." "Do you pay rent?" I'd ask. "No." "Do you buy groceries?" "Not really, but..." "Then they're going to feel entitled to control you," I'd say. That's how it works. You can't have total freedom and zero responsibility. He hated hearing that, but a part of him knew I was right. The explosion came on a random Tuesday night. Of course it did. Big life moments rarely schedule themselves conveniently. I was at home, halfway through reheating leftovers, when my phone started ringing nonstop. First it was Liam, then Mom, then Dad. Group chat messages blew up with "call me" and "where are you" and several angry emojis. I answered Liam first. "They lost it," he said, voice shaking. "They completely lost it this time." "What happened?" "They sat me down and gave me this list," he said. "A literal list of acceptable life paths. Get this certification, take this job, move back into this room, follow this curfew. And if I don't, they're cutting me off. No car, no phone, no health insurance, nothing." I could hear our dad yelling in the background, Mom crying. "They said I've wasted all their sacrifices," he continued, "that I've embarrassed them, that I'm throwing my life away." "And what did you say?" I asked. He hesitated. I told them maybe if they'd let me fail on my own earlier, I wouldn't be so scared of it now. That was surprisingly self-aware. In the background, I heard Mom shout, "Is that Chloe? Put it on speaker. She needs to hear this." "Don't," I said quietly. "Come over if you need to talk." "They said I'm not allowed to leave," he said. "That if I walk out, I'm on my own for real, and I'll see how far I get without them." The classic ultimatum. "Okay," I said, choosing my words carefully. "Then you have a decision to make. Stay and live by their rules, or leave and figure it out. But if you leave, you can crash on my couch for a while. And there will be rules here too. Adult rules." Silence. Then, "Are you serious?" "Yeah," I said. "My couch isn't fancy, but it's honest." "Real quick, I want to know what you think about parents who make one kid the golden child and then suddenly throw ultimatums at them when their plan doesn't work. Are they trying to help? Or are they just panicking about losing control? Tell me your thoughts in the comments because I know a lot of people have lived through this exact dynamic. Back to the explosion. A few hours later, around 11, my doorbell rang. And that's how we got to Liam on my doorstep with his duffel bag. He told me the rest of the story sitting on my couch, hands clasped between his knees. "They said if I left, I shouldn't bother coming back," he said. "So I left." "What did you tell them?" I asked. "I told them I was tired of being their project," he said quietly, "and that if they wanted a child robot, they should have built one and left me alone." I snorted despite myself. Harsh. "True," he said. "You know what Dad said?" He said, "We did all this for you, Liam. We gave you everything. Your sister never complained about getting less. She knew you were the one who would take us further." I took a slow breath. That's not exactly how I remember it. He looked at me then, really looked at me, and for the first time I saw something in his face I hadn't seen before. Shame. "I know," he said. "I know how they treated you. I never questioned it. I thought that's just how families were." "They don't have to be," I said. "But here we are." "I picked this couch over their house," he muttered, running a hand over the armrest. "Does that make me insane?" "It makes you ready," I said. "Ready or desperate. Maybe both." I laid down the rules. "You can stay here," I said. "But this isn't a free ride. You're going to help with groceries, even if it's just a little at first. You're going to do your own laundry. You're going to apply for jobs and actually go to them on time. And we're going to make a budget. No more pretending money is magic." He nodded slowly. "Okay." "I'm serious, Liam," I said. "I'm not Mom or Dad. I'm not going to scream at you, but I'm also not going to rescue you from your own choices." He swallowed. "Honestly, that's what I need." The next day, the real storm hit. My phone rang at 8 a.m. It was my mother. "How could you?" she said, before I could even say hello. "Good morning to you too," I replied. "You encouraged him to leave," she accused. "You turned our son against us." "I didn't encourage anything," I said. "I told him he had a choice. You're the ones who said he had to leave if he didn't follow your exact plan." "We were trying to help him," she said. We've sacrificed everything for that boy. I know, I said. Believe me, I know how much you've given him. I also know how little you expected from him compared to me. That's not fair, she said. We love you both. You love us, I agreed. But you didn't treat us fairly. When I needed help, it was Chloe will figure it out. When Liam needed help, it was drop everything and fix it for him. You told me to be grateful for Scraps while you built his whole life for him. And now you're surprised he doesn't know how to stand on his own. She was quiet for a moment. Then, is that what you've been holding on to all these years? Yes, I said. And I'm tired of pretending it didn't hurt. Dad got on the line then, speakerphone echoing. We did what we thought was best, he said. You were always so capable. We wanted to invest in Liam so he'd have a chance too. At my expense, I replied. You didn't have to choose one child's future over the other's. You decided I was the one who could survive on leftovers, and you were right, I did. But you also decided Liam needed everything handed to him, and now he doesn't know how to handle anything that isn't. He'll come to his senses, Dad said. This is temporary. He'll see how hard it is and come back. Maybe he'll see how hard it is and grow up, I said. That's what I'm hoping for. They didn't like that answer. The call ended with a lot of guilt trips and half-threats. But they knew where he was, and they knew I wasn't going to throw him out just to prove a point. The next few months were messy, but in a good way. Liam started with the basics. I showed him how to make a simple budget: rent share, food, phone, gas. He got a part-time job at a warehouse and actually kept it, mostly because I refused to let him sleep in when he had an early shift. The first time he brought home a full paycheck and paid me his tiny portion of the rent in cash, he looked weirdly proud and weirdly small at the same time. I've never paid for my own roof before, he said. Feels different, huh? I replied. He did his own laundry, badly at first, turning a couple of his white shirts pink, but he learned. He cooked a few meals, burned a few, learned again. There were nights where he sat on that couch, exhausted, and said, I get it now. How did you do this alone at 19? I didn't have a choice, I said. You do. You chose it. Our relationship shifted. We started talking like equals, not like caretaker and baby brother. He apologized, really apologized, not just sorry you feel that way, for all the times he'd rubbed his golden child status in my face. I admitted that I'd spent years hating him for benefits he didn't ask for. We laughed about some of it. We cried about some of it. We healed a little on that sagging couch. My parents kept their distance for a while. They'd text him occasionally with updates about real opportunities he was missing. They'd send me passive-aggressive messages about how family should stick together. I kept my replies short and calm. Over time, though, something softened. They saw that Liam wasn't spiraling. He was stabilizing. They saw he was showing up to work, paying his small share of bills, making choices that were imperfect but his. One evening, about 6 months after the blow-up, my mom called me again. Her voice was quieter this time. Is he okay? She asked. He's tired, I said, but he's learning. He's doing better. We didn't want this for him, she said. We wanted him to have an easy life. That's the problem, I said gently. You made my life harder so his could be easier. And now he has to learn everything you never let him face. I had to learn that too, but at least I had practice. She sighed. We wanted to protect him. I know, I said. But you can't protect someone from reality forever. It just hits harder later. We're still not one big happy sitcom family. My parents still have their blind spots. I still have my scars. Liam still struggles with some lazy habits and flashes of entitlement. But things are better than they were. He doesn't call himself the favorite anymore. Sometimes he jokes that my couch saved his life. I always tell him the couch didn't save anything. His choices did. If there's a lesson in all of this, it's not just don't have a favorite child. It's deeper than that. When parents decide one kid is the golden child and the other is the strong one who will be fine, they don't just hurt the overlooked child, they also cripple the chosen one. One grows up starved and self-reliant, the other grows up full and fragile. If someone kept telling you to be grateful for scraps, it's okay to admit you are hungry. If you were the golden child and now you feel lost, it's okay to admit you never learned how to cook for yourself. Being kind doesn't mean accepting unfairness forever. And loving your family doesn't mean you have to live in the role they assigned you when you were too young to say no. If any of this sounds like your life, the golden child, the forgotten one, or somewhere in between, I'd really like to hear your story in the comments. These dynamics are way more common than people admit. And if you made it this far, please hit like and subscribe. It helps a lot, and it tells me to keep sharing long, messy stories about family, boundaries, and the weird ways life pushes us to grow up.